makes you smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. You can also use KeysDan.com. If you're watching the video, you could read KeysDan. But you know, whenever I say KeysDan.com, they go, how do you spell that? Is that K-E-E? Is that K-I-O? Is that key? Keys. Keys, like the Florida Keys, like the keys in your pocket, like the keys to your door, like the keys to your car. Keys, K-E-Y-S. Dan, D-A-N, short for Daniel. That's me. That's me. I'm from the Keys. Dan, yeah, .com. See, but I have to do all that explanation if I do it that way. It's much easier to say DJLittleRock.com, as in Little Rock, Arkansas. You know, I'm real close to there now. I'm from the Keys, but now I'm in Arkansas. So if you have an event anywhere in the central Arkansas area, or if the price is right, I'll go anywhere. I will pretty much anywhere. Have equipment, will travel. All right. You can check availability at djlittlerock.com and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. Yeah. Let me entertain you. Let me be a part of your show. Last night, oh my goodness, I got to talk about it. I had a wedding at the barn at Pine Mountain up in Quitman, Arkansas. Fantastic location. Oh my goodness, what a great staff. I think her name is Carly, the one that's the planner over there at the barn on Pine Mountain in Quitman, Arkansas. Beautiful. Just marvelous. And then she was taking care of everyone's needs. Definitely the bride and groom were happy beyond belief at the location, and the way that they were treated last night was wonderful. And then let's see, I had, who was oh my goodness, was it Bill from Centennial Valley? He did the food. Oh, he sent me home with a plate full of meat and then a plate full of vegetables. Oh, so good. So good. Bill from Centennial Valley did the catering. Yes, delish. And then the photographer was Wesley Moreno. Wesley Moreno. And Wesley, that's my brother's middle name, okay? And that's her name. That's cool. Wesley Moreno. That's an interesting girl's name, but fantastic photographer. And we worked hand in hand. I let her know when I was going to be doing any of the different things, the different traditions that you see at weddings, when the first dances, the toast, the bouquet, the garter belt, and I even put all the people together for a group photo. And she went upstairs. There's like a balcony that looks down over the dance floor at the barn, and she took a picture, and hopefully that's going to turn out nice, and it'll be one of the pictures that'll let them know who was at this event, all the people, all their family and friends that attended. Yeah. Can you tell I like weddings? I really do, and I'm so happy that weddings are coming back, baby. I think I have one this next Saturday as well. And then I have this week's shows. I'll be at the Cedar Lodge, the Cedar Lounge in it's a brand new show, so still the name eludes me. Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. This will be our third week. I'll try to stop counting the weeks. It's a new show Thursday nights at the Cedar Lounge in Morrilton, Arkansas. And that's from 6 to 10. They sent me home with a steak last week. Delicious. I may try one of those steaks again this week. In fact, I made 2 meals out of it. It was so good. It was a ribeye steak. But from what I'm told, they have the burgers, the pizzas, and all the food is great at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas. So if you want to sing some songs, karaoke jam, that's what I said, karaoke on the party patio at the Cedar Lounge Bar and Grill in Morrilton, Arkansas, 6 to 10 Thursday nights. Be there. Do it. And if you show up, that means we get to keep doing this over and over again, which is great. And you're the stars of the show. Speaking of doing it over and over again, Friday night, I'll be at the Rab, your favorite place to be in the whole wide world. Yeah, I said it. Prove me wrong. Come on out and tell me, oh, they're right. This was a pretty good place. No. Pretty good? No, no. This is a great place to go on Friday nights after a long week of working. They have a full bar. The kitchen's open. Pool tables. They have a pool tournament on Friday nights. Yeah. And so if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night, I encourage you to check out the Rab Friday nights, 8 p.m. until 1 in the AM. And yes, you're the stars of the show. Karaoke Jam. We got the pool players on one side and then the karaoke jam on the other side. And I try to keep it quieter for the pool players so they can concentrate on their games because, there is money on the line. Yeah. I don't know how that works with the gambling thing, but hey, it works. It works. I guess they put it all into a pool, call it something, whatever. It's fantastic. You could be a pool champion. Or donate to the cause. Either way, I know some of the pool players say, well, I donated this week. I didn't win. But the winners, they come out smiling, just waving, fanning themselves with that cash. Love it. That's the Rab Friday night, 8 p.m. until 1 in the AM. Come and join us. Won't you join us? All right, then. And if speaking of join me, if you want to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And if you want to watch me stream some online games, you can do that too. You could do it right there. It's hashtag KeysDan Gaming. And right now I've been streaming on Twitch and Facebook Gaming. So if you look up the hashtag KeysDan Gaming, you might find some YouTube videos as well, but I think I'm going to cut the YouTube and make YouTube just for my podcasts, the What Makes You Famous podcast, the What Makes You Smarter podcast, and the KeysDan Show. I haven't been using that one too much. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Sunday, October 11th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, White House doctor says Trump no longer considered a transmission risk. White House physician Dr. Sean Connolly released a memo Saturday night saying President Trump is, quote, no longer considered a transmission risk, end quote, and is safe to come out of isolation more than a week after he first tested positive for the coronavirus. Connolly didn't reveal much more information than that, but he said the decision was based off Trump's Saturday morning, quote, COVID PCR sample, end quote. That doesn't mean the president tested negative for COVID-19, but Connolly said, quote, there is no longer evidence of actively replicating virus, end quote. Trump is also reportedly still fever-free, and all other symptoms have, quote, improved, end quote. But Connolly didn't say if he was still exhibiting any. The president made his first public appearance at the White House on Saturday afternoon and is prepared to resume campaign activities this week. This is according to the New York Times and NPR. Number 2, Trump holds first public appearance since COVID-19 diagnosis at White House. President Trump hosted a gathering with reportedly somewhere between 300 and 400 people in attendance on Saturday on the South Lawn of the White House, marking his first public event since he was hospitalized after contracting COVID-19 last week. And Trump was scheduled to speak for about 30 minutes, but wound up only utilizing 18, an unusual instance of efficiency for the president. His voice reportedly sounded, quote, a touch hoarse, end quote, but he showed no outward signs of illness and said he was, quote, feeling great, end quote. During his speech, Trump said he believes the coronavirus, quote, is going to disappear, end quote, largely to thanks, quote, science, medicine, end quote, and, quote, the American spirit, end quote. The event was not billed as a campaign rally, but the president opened the address by declaring, in reference to his Democratic opponents, quote, we got to vote these people into oblivion, end quote. This is according to Axios and CBS News. Number 3, Pelosi, Democrats criticize White House corona relief funding offer. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, said Saturday that the Trump administration's latest coronavirus relief funding offer, quote, amounted to 1 step forward and 2 steps back, end quote. She explained that the major divides between Democrats and the White House were over an apparent lack of national coronavirus containment strategy and adequate funding for child care and supplemental insurance benefits. Republicans, meanwhile, told Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows that Trump's bill was too big during a Saturday conference call. Per Politico, Senator Lamar Alexander, Republican Tennessee, said, quote, "There's no appetite to spend," end quote, what either the White House or Pelosi have put on the table, while some of his colleagues, including Senator John Barrasso, Republican Wyoming, and fellow Tennessean Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican, suggested passing legislation that costly would lead to GOP defeats at the ballot box this November. This is according to the New York Times and Politico. Number 4, Louisiana begins post-Delta recovery. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards, Democrat, said during a Saturday press conference that Hurricane Delta dumped more than 15 inches of rain on Lake Charles over 2 days and more than 10 inches on Baton Rouge. Flooding was reportedly considered the greatest concern in the fallout from the latest named storm to hit Louisiana during the tumultuous hurricane season. Delta carved a very similar path to the one Hurricane Laura, which caused significant damage and killed 32 people, took just weeks ago. No deaths were connected to Delta as of Saturday evening. Hundreds of thousands of customers lost power because of the storm across multiple states in the Gulf Coast region, including a peak of 638,000 in Louisiana. That number has since dropped to around 358,000. So restoration is happening relatively quickly. This is according to Fox News. Number 5, at least 20 people dead after bus train collide in Thailand. At least 20 people were killed and 30 others injured after a bus heading to a Buddhist temple collided with a train in central Thailand on Sunday morning. The accident occurred near Kalong Quang Klan Railway Station, about 40 miles east of Bangkok. The tour bus was carrying about 60 factory workers who were on the way to a ceremony at a temple in the Cha Chong Sao province for a ceremony marking the end of Vasa, which is known as, quote, Buddhist Lent, end quote. The vehicle was crossing a railway track when it was hit by a freight train headed to the capital. The crossing reportedly has an alarm, but no barrier to block traffic when a train is coming. The province will reportedly install speed bumps and barriers and cut down trees near the crossing to improve visibility. This is according to Al Jazeera and CNN. Number 6, 1 dead, 1 in custody after shooting during dueling Denver protests. 1 man was shot during dueling left and right-wing protests in downtown Denver on Saturday and later died at a hospital. Another man was in custody. The suspect is reportedly a private security guard who was working for a television station. The shooting occurred when the victim, who was apparently participating in what was described as a right-wing, quote, patriot rally, end quote, sprayed mace at the suspect, who then shot the man with a handgun outside the Denver Art Museum. Denver Police Department Division Chief Joe Montoyo told the Denver Post the incident started as a verbal altercation, but he said he could not confirm either the shooters or the victim's affiliation. This is according to the Associated Press and the Denver Post. Number 7, Armenia, Azerbaijan again accuse each other of breaching fragile ceasefire. Armenia and the Azerbaijan again accused each other of intense shelling on civilian areas amid a Russian-brokered ceasefire following 2 weeks of heavy fighting in the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. Azerbaijan and Armenian forces killed at least 9 people and wounded dozens of others in the second largest Azerji city, Ganja. Armenia's defense ministry called the accusation, quote, an absolute lie, end quote. An intern alleged Azerbaijan was breaking the truce. Ariak Harutyunyan, the leader of Nagorno-Karabakh, said the situation in the region's capital city, Stepanakert, which has been heavily bombed since the fighting broke out, was, quote, calmer, end quote, on Sunday, but added, quote, that can change quickly, end quote. This is according to Al Jazeera and France 24. Number 8, Chris Christie released from hospital. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Republican, announced Saturday morning that he has been released from the hospital, where he spent a week being treated for COVID-19. Christie thanked the, quote, extraordinary doctors and nurses who tended to him, end quote. And while short on specifics about his illness and treatment, he did say that, quote, I will have more to say about all of this next week, end quote. CNN had previously reported that Christie received the antiviral drug remdesivir, which President Trump was also treated with during his bout with the coronavirus last week. The governor had initially said he checked himself into the hospital for precautionary reasons because he has a history of asthma. He was one of several people connected to the White House who contracted the virus in recent weeks and had helped Trump prepare for the first presidential debate shortly before both men tested positive. This is according to Chris Christie and CNBC. Number 9, reports U.S. looking to revive travel corridor with UK. The White House National Security Council has approved moving forward with a plan aimed at opening travel with shortened quarantine periods between New York City and London as soon as the holiday season. People familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal. U.S. officials are apparently looking to revive international travel because of the increased availability of COVID-19 testing. Travelers would need to be tested for the coronavirus before departure and after arrival to avoid quarantining at their destination. The Trump administration and foreign governments will both have to agree to the plan. It appears that initial talks are revolving around a U.S. United Kingdom corridor, and discussions have also reportedly involved German officials. Currently, American citizens traveling to the U.K. must quarantine for 14 days, and the U.S. bars entry to travelers from the U.K. and Europe unless they are citizens or permanent residents. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. Number 10, Swiatek wins French Open. Iga Swiatek, an unseeded 19-year-old, became the first even tennis player from Poland to win a Grand Slam singles title after she defeated her 21-year-old American opponent, Sofia Kenin, who won the Australian Open in February 6-4 and 6-1. In the French Open final on Saturday, the 54th ranked Swiatek had only played in 7 major tournaments before this year's French Open and never made it past the 4th round, but she didn't drop a set during her run to the title, becoming the first woman to achieve the feat at Roland Garros since Justine Henin in 2007. The men's French Open final between Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal was underway Saturday morning. This is according to ESPN. That's 10 things you need to know today for Sunday, October 11th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. This has been What Makes You Smarter. I'm Keys Dan, trying to fill my head with knowledge. And while I'm at it, I'll read into this broadcast software and take you along on the journey. So if you're watching the video version on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or listening to the audio version everywhere else, I thank you for that. I thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. And if you want to watch me do some gaming, which I'll probably do a little bit later, you can watch me using the hashtag KeysDanGaming. I'm on Facebook and Twitch, and sometimes YouTube. All right, that's it for me. It's Keys Dan, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com.